Hang on. So there's no rear window, so I can't see out the back.
What were they thinking? This is the new Polestar 4, and it's a rival to the likes of the Porsche Macan Electric, BMW iX3, and even the Audi Q6 e-tron. But I mean, it's not gonna be a surprise for me to tell you this isn't shaped like any of those, because it doesn't look like an SUV. So what is it all about? Well, Polestar is obsessed with aerodynamics, and that's why they've slimmed this car down. And so while it supposedly has just as much room as its rivals, it's got much more like a coupe silhouette. And so at the front, we've got this pinched nose, we've got these, and this is a first for Polestar actually, we've got these two-part headlights here. You've got one bit here, one bit here, and if you come around to the side of the car, there's a bit of aero through here as well, just to slim the nose down. And I'm very happy to see that we've got quite a lot of tyre on this car. These are heavy, these EVs, but we've got a chunky Michelin here, albeit still with 21 inches of alloy wheel. Looks quite good, that, doesn't it? And the brakes look quite beefy too. Polestar always lets you know what the kilowatt is of their battery. So we've got 100 kilowatt hours in the floor here. So that's quite a chunky battery, hence this car's chunky range. And at the back of the car, you'll notice this pinched roofline here and that no rear window. I can't really get used to this. It looks so odd, but actually, when you look at the back of the car with this futuristic taillight, kind of works. But does it work in a functional sense? I have some big doubts, but let's get inside. Now, before we check whether that lack of rear window has ruined everything in this car, I can at least confirm that the front seats are a very nice place to be. Not least because this is the best Polestar dash I've been with yet. I've been in a 2 and I've driven the 3 as well, and neither of them have a screen as big as this one. So this means the technology in this car is easier to use, it's more customizable, and well, it looks quite good as well, doesn't it? Now, this big screen in the middle, you can customize it. You can have different things shortcutted, and you can even have certain controls for the car shortcutted, including some of the annoying driver assistance features I'll show you in a bit. But the best thing about it is the size of the map, and because it's got Google built in, you can use Waze or Google Maps even if your phone's not connected. You can use it in the car, and the map itself can be expanded so that it effectively fills the whole screen. So if you're the sort of person who likes to have a real grasp of where you are, well, you're going to get a good amount of information from this. And then there's even more available if you turn the instrument cluster ahead of you, so it shows you the map as well. So basically this is very customizable, very user friendly, and it's really quick reacting as well. And you even get a head-up display to give you quick information. So tech-wise, this is superb. And you get loads of storage space as well. This is a wide car, even if it's not as tall as its rivals. So you've still got lots of room down here, storage space underneath this centre part as well. Plus you've got some room under this armrest, cup holders, you name it, it's there. Plus, I've also got generous door pockets with a slightly rubberized bottom, so stuff doesn't roll around as much. And these seats, now the Polestar 4 is billed as a slightly sportier model of Polestar's lineup, especially compared to the 3. And these seats have a bucket shape, but they're very comfortable. Plus, there's loads of room above you. You've got a nice panoramic sunroof here, so the car feels airy and really spacious. It doesn't feel as narrow as it looks from the outside, or at least that's true in the front seats. So in the back here, I have to admit, I'm very surprised about how much room there is. There is so much more headroom than I'd expected from the outside of the car. And yes, it's helped a little bit by the fact we've got this panoramic sunroof, so it's glass and it's obviously relatively thin, but still, normally if you lean back, you hit your head on something, but in this car you don't. It does come at a cost though, but we'll cover that in a little bit. But really, when it comes to just sitting in the back, there's more room than you'd expect. And that's same for your legroom and your footroom. I have to admit, I've got this seat as low as it will go, and it's pushed back quite far. Most people probably sit a little bit further forward, so you'll get more space, but there is plenty of room in here. And this middle seat is very wide as well, and I've noticed there's not really a foot tunnel too. But before I talk about that stuff, this screen down here is worth mentioning, because not only does it let you control your climate for the rear, but also it lets you engage with the media, so you can skip tracks, pause and play, and go back as well. So that's going to be great for people back here, very annoying for the people in the front. But if you are back here, there are more fun things to be had. I mean, this is pretty cool. If I pull this flap here and lower this seat down here, of course this is if you haven't got a passenger here, well then what you'll find, not only have you got space to store your phone here, but you've also got your controls to lower the seat. And it's the same on this side. I can lower my seat electronically, so you can lean back or you can sit in a more normal position, and then press that and you've got a pair of hidden cup holders. So this is quite nifty. But of course, if that's folded up and if you are sat in the seat, let me just double check how this middle seat is. Well, I can confirm that my head still doesn't touch anything and I've still got a good amount of space. So this is usable. Same goes for the access for the ISOFIX bars. There are 2 USB-C ports down there, and you've got various storage areas as well. So surely the compromise comes in the boot. Now, before I open the boot, I want to show you where the cameras are for that rear visibility. They are obviously up here, and there are 2 of them. And because they're up here, they shouldn't get mucky or dirty with all the road stuff that comes up, especially in the winter. But they are on this slab up here, and this is where the strength of the rear of the car is, or certainly on the top of it. So how does that impact boot space? Now, if I press the button, open the tailgate, you'll see that it's a very long boot. But look up, and you've got this massive amount of, well, a slab of strength up there. And so, of course, that means this boot opening is narrower than the SUV-shaped alternatives. But if I lower this down, it does at least show you can see through. But because it curves down, this is not going to be as friendly for maybe a dog owner, for example, in getting them to jump into the back. Also, that roofline is quite swoopy. But the Ford does fight back because it's got quite a lot of underfloor storage, and you've even got this well down here. It reminds me of the Ford Puma ST, albeit without the ability to be hosed out without a plug at the bottom of it. But it can swallow the plugs and the cables easily, and you've even got a front boot or a fruit or a frunk. So space-wise, it's done much better than I thought it would have. So that obviously means the compromise of this like a rear window is going to be when you drive it.
This is quick. Now, even with all those quirky things on the outside of the car, the first thing you notice when you get behind the wheel of this Polestar in dual motor mode is how bloody quick it is and how much grip you have. This is a car which rides much lower than many of the class alternatives. This is just a low-slung 5-door car, and well, don't you know it when you're hammering down British B-roads, because it feels pretty flat to corner. Now, what they've done, and I'm happy they've done this, is they haven't overly sprung the car. This is not a super stiff machine, so it does move around. I can demonstrate here. You can hopefully see. I'll try and pin myself against the seat, and you can just about see the body roll. But that serves to communicate what the car is doing better, and I think it makes it more fun because it's not hunkered down.
Having that slightly squidgier suspension also benefits the Polestar 4's ride, which is more absorbing of bumps than your average electric SUV. It's no Rolls-Royce, but it's certainly capable of smoothing out challenging British road surfaces and reducing the road noise as a result.
But I do think if I go over the cat's eyes here, I mean, I can hear them, can't feel them. I think the tyres, even though we've got 21-inch wheels, I think it's doing a very good job of soaking up the bumps. And even with our big, massive brakes, no one's behind me. If I hit the anchors, oh, that really hurt. This car can stop. Honestly, it's so punchy, so powerful on the anchors. Polestar definitely is one of the brands that over-engineers their cars when it comes to stopping power.
This overly safe attitude to Polestar engineering does, however, ensure one annoying trait for the Polestar 4 and its siblings, and it's to do with sluggish initial acceleration.
If you're in a Tesla, it doesn't matter what mode you're in, if you accelerate hard, the car will go, oh, he wants to go quick or she wants to go quick, and it will just accelerate you quick. Whereas in the Polestar, they've definitely engineered in, I guess, potentially a bit of safety. Maybe it's for comfort. Certainly it's for range. When you accelerate hard, if you're in the normal mode, which is called range mode, so it kind of does what it says on the tin, well then there is a hesitation, and it's the kind of hesitation you're going to get if you drive a 300 horsepower automatic car with a gearbox, you know, a dual clutch or something. There's a half a second delay when it drops down 3 gears to get you into the gear it needs to accelerate in. That's the kind of feeling you have in this. There's a hesitation, but that hesitation is software just causing a delay in the reaction of the motor. It does accelerate, but it doesn't thump you in the back for half a second. But either way, if you're coming from a Tesla, or if you drive one like I do most days and you jump into this, initially you're going to think, well, why is it so hesitant? But of course, you just have to press this button here, and then yeah, it's quick.
That does illustrate one of the problems with the Polestar's clutter-free interior, and that is the lack of buttons. Mercifully though, you can shortcut some of the buttons onto the Polestar's big screen, but for those you haven't, you're forced to dive into the menus while on the move, which is quite distracting.
And of course, you also get cruise control and adaptive cruise control. You also get steering assist. So let's see how that does on this road. Oh, brilliant, really good. So, you know, you have to, oh, didn't want to steer there yet. So there are limitations to the angle it will turn. So I'm not turning. This is not me turning. Oh, it's a bit wide there. No, we're good though. We're in the middle of the lane as well. That's good. This is an effort reducing and very handy technological feature. Let's turn it off because this is, you know, supposedly a driver's car. And yes, you do get the bings and bongs and the beeps that you get on all new cars at the moment. They're very much here on the Polestar. You can turn them off, thankfully, but unfortunately it's not just a one-touch scenario with just like a button down the side like you have in other cars. It is unfortunately in the menus. You can shortcut though the ones you hate the most to sit here. So lane keep assist is the one I hate the most. So if it were on, if I'd have just got into the car and it was fighting me on the lane as it is here, well, I'd just go like that and switch it off. So that's not too bad. At least you can shortcut them to put them there. And then if you want to turn off even more of them, well, they're hidden away in the assist section here. It's a couple of buttons away, so it takes a bit of time. But of course, if you were to own one of these, you'd move it into that shortcut menu. So that's okay. This big screen is really good because of that. Okay, let's see how easy it is to park without a rear window. Right, so firstly, I can see very clearly, very wide mirror up here, which is not a mirror, it's a screen, of course, but it's got a massive amount of visibility. This reversing camera is so clear. I mean, can I move this stuff? No. But I'm so aware. Also, door mirrors are nice and chunky, so if I do want to look at the analog stuff, that's good. But as far as the digital's concerned, I don't feel like I'm missing out too much. Of course, when I look back, it's a bit disconcerting, but my view behind is pretty clear. I have to admit, though, you do lose that sense of distance and context. I haven't got a real grasp of how far away that hedge is, but at least from the above view here, and of course with this camera, it's pretty clear to see. It's not as natural as it would be with glass mirror, but probably just as effective.
And yes, before you ask, you can see out of the back even when the boot lid is open, as illustrated by this idiot here.
So call me bold, but I reckon this Polestar 4 is the closest anyone's come to reincarnating the success of the Tesla Model S, albeit for the 2020s. Not even Tesla has done that with its very good, but not quite as good Model 3 and Model Y. But this, it's so happy in its own skin. I think it drives fabulously. I think because it's slimmer, it handles much better than its taller rivals. But I actually think there's another car out there that's just as impressive, albeit in other ways. And it's a car from Volkswagen, and it's this ID7, and you're gonna have to watch the video to find out why.